Since the beginning of his presidency, Karol Nawrocki has been meeting with those who supported him during his campaign. At the beginning of September, he will have the opportunity to thank one more person who supported him, the President of the United States. The meeting at the White House will take place on the 3rd of September. The United States will be the first place Karol Nawrocki visits after taking office as president of Poland. It is possible that he will also visit the Vatican on the way to pray at the tomb of St. John Paul II. With President Nawrocki, we are really starting to play in the big leagues when it comes to international diplomacy. Good relations with the United States are an opportunity for even closer cooperation in the area of economic cooperation, especially in the sectors of modern technology, security, and arms contracts. This confirms that in this part of Europe, Poland is the leader in relations with the United States. And for President Donald Trump, the best person to talk to is President Karol Nawrocki. The person with whom he has the best contact and the best relations at the moment seems to be Karol Nawrocki in this part of the continent. The decision to hold the Nawrocki-Trump meeting was made during the visit of the U.S. president's delegation to the inauguration of Karol Nawrocki's presidency. It was led by Kelly Loeffler, head of the Small Business Administration. U.S. President Donald Trump continues his efforts to end the war in Ukraine. That is why he will personally talk to the Russian criminal. The talks are scheduled to take place this Friday in Alaska. What seemed impossible is now becoming a reality and maybe the beginning of the end of the bloody conflict in Ukraine.
I think it's that one is, as you know, we've been working on a lot of these deals. We've closed every single one of them all throughout the world, and that's the last of them.
The U.S. president announced more information about his meeting with Putin shortly afterwards on social media. The highly anticipated meeting between myself as President of the United States of America and President Vladimir Putin of Russia will take place next Friday, August 15th, 2025, in the great state of Alaska. Further details to follow. Thank you for your attention to this matter. The Russian side has also confirmed the time and place, adding that the U.S. president has also received an invitation to visit Russia. The talks are expected to focus primarily on the war in Ukraine and serve as a prelude to a meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. The latter has already warned that he will not agree to any territorial concessions. The answer to the Ukrainian territorial issue is already in the Constitution of Ukraine. No one will deviate from it, and no one will be able to do so. Ukrainians will not give their land to the occupier. The meeting in Alaska also has its symbolism. These are territories purchased by the U.S. from Russia in 1867. Alaska is the largest state in terms of area, and at the same time, the least populated due to its climate. It borders Canada to the east and Russia to the west, across the Bering Strait. Putin therefore agreed not only to a meeting in the United States, but also in a territory that his country lost, and which later became a symbol of American strength and determination.
I've always said this, that I think for the deal, if there's going to be a deal to end this war, it'll have to require the president to come in at the end and close on it, as I've seen him do numerous times now on trade deals as an example. So we got to get close enough to that point so that a meeting like that will be productive and worth doing.
President Donald Trump has already met with Putin, but during his first term, as did other U.S. presidents, such as George W. Bush, Barack Obama, and Joe Biden. Even before the Trump-Putin meeting, a meeting is to take place in London between representatives of Ukraine and other allies from Europe and the United States, which is to help develop a common position before the talks. If an agreement is reached in Alaska, the next step would be a meeting between Trump, Putin, and Zelensky to discuss the details of ending the war, but this still seems a distant prospect. The end of the 35-year conflict between Armenia and Azerbaijan. The leaders of both countries signed a peace and economic agreement at the White House. Both leaders announced that they would nominate Donald Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. Armenia and Azerbaijan have committed to cease fighting, establish diplomatic relations, and respect each other's territorial integrity. The agreement grants the United States exclusive rights to develop a strategic transit corridor through the South Caucasus, which, according to the White House, will facilitate the export of energy and other raw materials.
It's a long time, 35 years. They fought, and now they're friends, and they're going to be friends for a long time. But it's a big, beautiful honor to welcome everyone to the White House for this very historic peace summit between Armenia and Azerbaijan. It's really a great thrill for me. I love seeing good people get together, and that's what you have. You have two great leaders. I want to congratulate these two visionary people, Prime Minister Pashinyan and President Aliyev.
During the negotiations, the concept of the so-called Trump route was developed. That is, a special transit area that will allow Azerbaijan full access to the territory of Nakhchivan, while fully respecting the sovereignty of Armenia. The U.S. is also lifting restrictions on trade with Azerbaijan.
Also, I'm very grateful to Mr. President that he today lifted the restrictions which have been imposed on Azerbaijan back in 1992. I'm sure that Armenia and Azerbaijan will find courage and responsibility to reconcile, and also the people will reconcile. We will turn the page of standoff, confrontation, and bloodshed, and provide bright and safe future for our children. So I'm very happy.
The agreement between the rivals in the South Caucasus, assuming it holds, could be a significant achievement for the Trump administration, one that is sure to shake Moscow. The Russians have viewed the region as their exclusive sphere of influence.
I want to thank President Trump and his team for brokering this game-changing outcome between Armenia and Azerbaijan. This is a great deal we've achieved today. This is a success for our countries and for our region, and a success for the world, because a more peaceful region means a safer world.
In return for his involvement in the mediation, both leaders announced that they would nominate the U.S. president for the Nobel Peace Prize.
Trump deserved to have a Nobel Peace Prize, and we will defend that, and we will promote for that.
So who, if not President Trump, deserves the Nobel Peace Prize? And hopefully, and I also join when President is awarded, we hope that he will invite us to the ceremony.
You certainly will be. Thank you very much.
The conflict between Armenia and Azerbaijan has been going on since the late 1980s, when Nagorno-Karabakh, a mountainous region of Azerbaijan inhabited mainly by Armenians, broke away from Baku with the support of Yerevan. In 2023, Azerbaijan regained full control of the territory, forcing nearly all of the nearly 100,000 Armenian residents to flee to Armenia. Tensions are rising again, and China is issuing threats. This is the result of unconfirmed reports of a possible visit by U.S. congressmen to Taiwan this month. There is only one China in the world, and Taiwan is an inseparable part of China's territory. China firmly opposes any form of official exchange between the United States and the Taiwan region. We demand that the United States abide by the One China principle. Taiwan, considered one of Asia's economic tigers, is a place where a new global conflict may begin. There are increasing signs that China will want to attack the island, whose independence it has never recognized. Taiwan is arming itself and seeking alliances.
We face ongoing pressures from China, militarily, economically, politically, and psychologically. And over the past year, these pressures have only intensified. We've seen escalating military coercion, sustained gray zone activities, and economic coercion.
The United States does not want to exacerbate the situation, but at the same time, it is very clear about its presence in this region of the world, as the U.S. Secretary of Defense said during his recent visit to Asia.
President Trump and the American people have an immense respect for the Chinese people and their civilization. But we will not be pushed out of this critical region. And we will not let our allies and partners be subordinated and intimidated. China seeks to become a hegemonic power in Asia, no doubt.
At the same time, Pete Hegseth warned of a potential war over Taiwan.
Again, to be clear, any attempt by Communist China to conquer Taiwan by force would result in devastating consequences for the Indo-Pacific and the world. There's no reason to sugarcoat it. The threat China poses is real, and it could be imminent. We hope not, but it certainly could be.
War in this region of the world would have global consequences, if only because Taiwan currently accounts for 60% of the world's semiconductor production, without which the modern economy cannot exist. This was demonstrated by the pandemic and the disruption of global supply chains. This is one of the reasons why the U.S. administration is trying to make its country independent and strengthen its domestic production.
So his objective is to get semiconductor manufacturing done here of our best technology, and that way we can control it the best.
Yeah.
That's the strategy. It's great for America, and President Trump is on it.
One theory is that China could attack Taiwan as early as 2027, while at the same time, Russia would launch an attack on selected NATO countries and divert attention from Beijing's actions. This scenario was recently discussed by Mark Rutte, NATO Secretary General.